Hiya. So, how do I start this video vlog? Well, I'm Mark. I'm a doorman. I work in Wolverhampton, and it's come to the point in my door career where I've got to renew my badge again. This will be my 4th badge, but renewing it this time is a little bit different. In the past, you just renew it with the SIA, and jobs are good, and you carry on working. But now you have to do a 2-day upskilling course before you can actually apply or reapply for your badge again. So like I said, this will be my 4th one. This is the first time I've had to do any additional training on top of applying for my badge, so a little bit different. Luckily, through Get Licensed, who I'm doing this vlog for, they've been massively supportive in helping me sort this. So, and it's as easy as downloading the app, getting in touch with them, booking yourself onto a course, doing the 2 sections of the e-learning on the app, which you have to get done before you do the course. Luckily for me, I've had a few weeks to get it sorted. It's super easy to follow. There's 2 videos that you need to watch just to give you a little bit of details about what you need to do before you go onto your course, your 2-day course. The first part, there is a roughly about 50-minute video that you need to watch. Now, don't just rush ahead and answer all the questions in the quiz, because I promise you, and not that I did it because I didn't, you need to watch the video. There is so many things in both the videos for the 2 sections of the e-learning that I either didn't know, even with the experience that I have. There's lots of things that I didn't know, lots of things that I was a little bit unsure of, and both the videos really clear things up, and you learn stuff from it. And then you take a quick quiz. It's about 15 questions on each one at the end, just to get yourself signed off. So this is the night before. When I wake up in the morning, I'll get myself up nice and early. The courses are booked for the 2 days all around the country. The one that I've picked is not far from here. It's in Birmingham. There's a hotel in Birmingham that I'm going to get to for 8 o'clock in the morning, so nice and early. So in the morning, what I'm going to do is get up, have some breakfast, have a coffee to wake myself up, and then I'll go over just a few things that you need to bring with you when you attend the course. There's a few things that you need for identification reasons and so on. So I'd like to say that I wasn't nervous, because of course I've been doing the doors for quite a while, but I am. It's the unknown. Not too sure what the course entails. I know there might be a little bit of physical intervention stuff that they might go over again. There's obviously going to be a lot of questions, maybe some counter-terrorism type stuff, but who knows. But all this is about upskilling. It's not about, I'm going to presume, it's not about questioning how good you are as a doorman, I suppose. Maybe this is just a way to make sure that people are doing the job properly, which is, that's huge. And just to keep us on our toes. Any new things that's come out, any new codes of practice, or any things that's come out that can help us be better door staff. So I'm going to get off to bed. I hope that all makes sense, that I went through anyway. And I shall see you in the morning. Morning. Well, today's the day. So I've got up early, coffee in me, breakfast in me, lunch packed, just in case there's nowhere too local to grab food. It's in Birmingham city centre, more or less, so I don't want to be driving around during my break trying to find somewhere to eat. So everything with me prepared. A little bit nervous, don't really know why. Sure, I'm going to smash it. I've got all my things that I'm going to be needing: driving licence, passport, utility bill, etc. There is a big list that you will be sent in your information email of the things that you need to bring in terms of your identification. I've just brought a little bit of everything, just in case there's any confusion, just to make sure I've got everything. Make sure you bring a pen with you as well, just in case. Just a little bit of advice. And here we go. So yeah, I should be back on here when I arrive at the hotel. And we are here. Managed to find the hotel. Pretty easy. Sat-nav'd it all the way, just for a peace of mind. I reckon I knew most of the journey anyway, but just coming into the city centre, it's best to use the sat-nav. I've got myself here half an hour early.
which is always good because I absolute hate being late. And if you're like me, or especially the instructor in there, I'm sure someone's going to end up being late, and you never want to be that person walking in a room who's late, or you couldn't find the place, or you couldn't park. There is free parking at a lot of the places that are picked. For example, this is a hotel, but there's no guarantees there. So I got myself here nice and early just to make sure I could park, just to be stress free. So I'm going to chill in the car just for 10 minutes, get myself in there, find out where I need to be, grab myself a coffee maybe, and then crack on. So I shall be back in touch maybe just before we start, or during the first break, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what I've found so far about this 2-day upskilling course.
Right, so just completed the first part of the two-day upskilling. It was really interesting actually. There's quite a few people in the class, 9 of us in here. It's interesting, and we all kind of introduced each other at the start, just addressed the class and what we do in the security industry. And you've got people that work full-time on the doors, you've got people that do retail security, some people are just getting the badge just to renew it, just as a little bit of extra form of income, which is interesting as well. So not everyone's in the same boat in terms of what they do in security. So first part of the day is covering mainly first aid, which I can't stress enough how important that is now for everyone to have first aid training. It's something that we didn't have to have in the past, but now we do have to have. It's essential, and I think it's brilliant that it's pushed upon us now to make sure that we're all first aid trained and we all know how to deal with a situation should they arise. Not that we want anything to happen. So yeah, interesting start. On the next break, I'll just update you all with what the next part of the day is. I think the most part of this day is pretty much covering the first aid side of things. So yeah, interesting so far. It's nice to meet different people in the industry. We don't really get a chance, do we, to speak to many people in the industry when we're on the door. We kind of work with the same people on the same doors, meeting the same customers. So it's good to hear stories from different people in the industry and their experiences. So yeah. Right, just started the last break. So it's now 5:20. So it is a long day, the first day of the course. So be prepared. Make sure you bring food, drink. Bring your wallet if you want a coffee. So the last part of everything now is the physical intervention. I think the practical side of it is tomorrow. So we're just going over the workbook now. There is a lot to go through, and there's a lot to go over. So like I just said, just be prepared to be here for the time duration that is specified in your paperwork. So here we go, last section. Right guys, just on a break. We've completed the first aid course. Don't know if I'll pass yet, hopefully I have. Really interesting. Like I said in the previous little video, definitely worthwhile getting your first aid. The fact that you've got to get it done anyway, it doesn't really matter. You've got to do it, haven't you? So that was great. Another group have joined our class who've already got their first aid. Your first aid lasts for 3 years. So if you've already got your first aid and you need to do your door top-up training or your door badge, and you haven't got a year left on that, you need to then book yourself back onto the first aid. So if you've got more than a year, you're okay. That'll last you 3 years. If you've got less than a year, you would need to rebook that. That's important. The other thing to bring, which I noticed, which I forgot, but I've sorted it, you need a little passport photo to put on your identification when you're doing your course. So just a quick one now. And you go back up there. We just had a little bit of a dinner break. There's a lot of paperwork to be signed off, I've noticed. This is just the nature of the business now. So I've got to hand in some paperwork up there with all my details I've had to bring in, on my identification, statements, etc. So I'll get back up there and I'll film the next video when I come back down. First day is done of the 2-day upskilling course for your SIA, for your door badge. Really tired, you can probably tell because I don't know what I'm saying. It's a long process the first day. There's a lot of things that needed covering, a lot of things updating.
So it's now what, 7:20. I got here at 7:30 in the morning, so I'm shattered. I'll give a proper update when I get home and break down kind of what we went over. But first, let's get home and get some food in me.
And that's a wrap. The first day is done. I'm home. Food is in the oven. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day. It was more interesting than I thought it was going to be, and I'll tell you why. Even though a lot of the stuff we were going over, it was stuff that I knew. There's a lot of new things come out with the door license course. There's a lot of new things. There's a lot of things changed. And if you're like me and you've done the doors for a long time and you've just renewed your badge every time with the SIA, you just send off for it, don't you? And you get it back. And at the time, there's been no additional training for us. We can get sloppy. Even myself, we can get a bit sloppy with techniques. Maybe with the way that we approach situations. Now, you learn from experience on the door. You know, we all know this. The more that you work the doors, the more situations you deal with, the more competent you're going to be, or that's what I found anyway. But there's a lot of stuff that we covered that I'd either forgot or was just interesting to relearn. And because there were so many people in the class, all from different backgrounds in security within the industry, it was just interesting to hear people's stories, thoughts on things, the answers, the difference between people giving different answers and their opinion. So it was really interesting. Prepare yourself for a long day when you get booked on. Of course, you've got to get on it, you've got to do it. So there's no choice. But hopefully, because today was such a long day, I think it's 13, 14 hours altogether you've got to spend in the classroom over the 2 days. And we've just smashed out, what? God, how many hours did we do? God, like 11 hours, something like that. So we've done a lot of the paperwork today, a lot of answering the questions, a lot of filling in, re-going over the answers. We did a little mock test at the end, which was great. Everyone was getting involved, giving their opinion and answers. That was good. So tomorrow, I believe it is the physical intervention work and the exams. There's a few different little exams. One of them's got like 30 questions. You've got to get maximum you can get wrong is 6, I think, on the bigger one. So there's a few little questions that we're going to answer tomorrow, as well as the physical intervention. Today was the first aid and going over codes of conduct, let's say, and refreshing our memories of what we should and shouldn't be doing, especially when it comes to putting our hands on people, physical intervention. Yes, tomorrow's the practical side of it, where we go over things, but there's a lot you need to know. It's not just about seeing a fight kick off and going all guns blazing over. There's a lot that you've got to assess, and although 99 times out of 100 we'll deal with it how we see fit, in the correct ways, and nothing will ever come of it afterwards. If we've done something wrong, whether we've been too aggressive, or we've not approached it properly, or we've spoken out of turn to people, which that often happens, we can be liable to get ourselves in trouble, and it can lead us into legal proceedings if it's something serious, and it could even result into you losing your SIA door badge, and if that's your form of income, you're out of work. So it's so important that we do things correctly on the door, which is why it's vital that this 2-day course has come into play. Now, when it first came out, of course, I was skeptical. Why do I need to do this? I've been doing the doors for 9 years. Why do I need a refresher? But it's really become apparent today that we all need a refresher. We all need a little reminder. So, yep, it's grueling. It's a long day, and I know how to physically intervene with situations, or verbally, or calm things down. It's good to get that refresher in. So I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm tired, but I am really looking forward to it. The classroom side of it was all today, and thankfully that's all out the way, other than the exams. So we'll have a good day tomorrow. I shall see you in the morning. Right guys, second part of the second day, smashed, so it was radio training. I'm not going to give you too much information on that though, because if I do, then you'll start practicing for it. So there will be things that you have to rehearse, is that the right word? Practice for that, all to do with your radio skills and communication. Now if I'll just start spelling it off, then when you get to it, then that ain't going to help you, is it? So it'll give you time to practice once you know what it's all about. So not going to give you too much info on that. But yeah, that was interesting. I think radio use is so important. It's very, very hard to understand people on the radio sometimes if they haven't had training. And let's face it, it's not their fault if they haven't had training and if the training is not provided. So now, with your 2-day top-up DS course, you get some radio training, which was fantastic. So now we're about to go in after this little break. And then we're going to do our physical intervention training. So excited for that one. That's the one that I'm most comfortable with, let's say. So let's get back in there and do it. Right guys, dinner time here. It's about 1 o'clock. Just smashed out all the physical intervention training, which is all your holds, anything from a V hold to a safe hold, etc. So that was quite good. Regearing over some of the holds, a little bit different from when I first did holds. What, 9 years ago. So things have changed slightly. Now, whether you're going to use them holds or not, these are the holds that you should be using, and they are useful. And of course, when things are a little bit more escalated and sometimes situations are a little bit more violent, we have to be a little bit more physical and hands-on. But we always want to try and be as less physical as possible and use our mouth as much as possible. So that was quite good. There were some new people on the course as well. Well, newish people, and people who work in the security industry but don't actually deal with like the general public or customers as much, whether that's static guarding or guarding at a factory or something. So it'd be useful for them if they were ever under any anyone tried to get on the site and was aggressive with them, just because they don't use physical intervention every week like say I would on the door. It's good that they've got that. And a bit of a reminder as well from when they first did the door badge. So useful for any element of security. The one thing we did with physical intervention as well was going up and down the stairs the correct way to take someone safely up and down the stairs when you're ejecting them out of the building or moving them to a safe place if they're drunk, vulnerable, etc. So interesting. The last part now when I go back in is the exams. And it's multiple choice, it's just ticking boxes. Fairly confident, but I just generally don't like exams, so I can't be too excited about it. Enjoyed the physical intervention there. It was cool. Great trainers as well with Get Licensed, just really easy to get on with, and they're just very good at explaining things and helping some of the guys who were just struggling a little bit, just to understand. But you know, I was very confident with that stuff, so I enjoyed it. So, back in there now to do the exam. I'll give you an update when I come out. I think that'll be it after the exam. And then I'll give you a little summary tonight when I get in. So, I'll speak to you in a bit. Right guys, first part of the exam is done. So I've gone in and there's basically 6 questions that you answer in the paperwork. We did it on the first day. You kind of go over the answers, fill it in, reiterate them. They're just six points about physical intervention, basically, the risk factors, everything involved with it, basically, with physical intervention. So today we went in exam conditions. Sorry, there's a lot of people out here. Went in exam conditions. You actually filmed as well, and your instructor is reading the questions out to you, and you basically answer the questions. So they're things that are predominant in the security industry with physical intervention, and you just literally go over all them points. Yeah, smashed it. I volunteered myself to go first. One, because it was fresh in my mind, so I wanted to keep it fresh, and I'm not so good with remembering stuff like that, so I wanted to go in there nice and fresh, stress-free. So all the rest of the lads, one by one, are going in there now. So yeah, that is the first part done. I've smashed that out of the way. Next part will probably actually be the physical, I think, because the exams with an examiner coming in isn't until this afternoon. So, first part, smashed.
And we are done. Just come out of the last exam. Took longer than we thought it was going to take, so it was a bit of a grueling process, but it's multiple choice answer, so you've got A, B, C or D, and you just tick across the box what answer it is. You get the separate questions on another paper. So I'll give you a proper update in the next video. I want to try and get back now because I'm going to get stuck on the motorway because it is, what, 20 to 6, so lovely motorway traffic now. So I'll update you with a bit of a summary of the day in a bit.
Hey folks, this is the morning after the second day of the 2-day upskilling course that I did for my DS badge. I got in quite late last night, so I just needed food after two long days of studies in the classroom and physical intervention. So I thought I'd wake up this morning, get some breakfast in me, shower, and then sit down to just do a bit of an overall recap of the experience. So the first day, as you've seen in the during the vlog, was a lot of sit down classroom work, a lot of paperwork, a lot of refreshing us on new codes of practice within the security industry. A lot of counter-terrorism stuff, which I didn't expect. I knew that was part of the 2-day course. I didn't realise how much of it. And as much as we know, we just generally know little bits about terrorism. We don't really know the ins and outs unless we're taught and unless we're told. I'm somebody that tries to keep myself clued up within the industry of what's going on and codes of practice, etc. But a lot of the stuff I just didn't know. And it's okay to not know, because if you're not shown or you're not told, then you can't be expected. The Manchester bombing, a few years ago, that was brought up quite a lot as one of the reasons why this has kind of been pushed into the industry. I didn't realise that, for example, only two security officers at that tragic event, were first aid trained. Now, that's not the fault of, and this might be going off on a tangent, but that's not the fault of the security guys, because if they're not expected to have that, or they're not forced to have it as part of their qualification, then they can't really be to blame. There seemed to be a lot of blame within that, and who was right or wrong, that's not for me to decide or say. But what I am getting to the point of this bit is that it's so important that we're all clued up on counter-terrorism measures, things to look out for example, and when you do spot something suspicious, to raise awareness and to do the right thing. Now, what the right thing is to do all depends on the circumstances, doesn't it? But you need to be clued up enough to be able to make decisions and make the right decisions. Because ultimately, although this is the extreme side of things, you could save multiple people's lives by just being switched on. We can get bored on the doors, can't we? When it's not very busy. But we always need to be switched on, because you never know when things are going to happen. You can't always predict when events are going to happen. So being switched on and clued up from doing this 2-day course, it was priceless, really. I've got to say, that was really, really interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed learning about it. The first aid, obviously, was it's imperative that we're all first aid trained. I can't believe in the past that we've not been made to have first aid. I had my first aid qualification when I first did my badge. I did it with St John's, so I did it as an outside source. But then my few badges after that, it wasn't a requirement, and it's something that I really, really should have got personally, because I have dealt with incidents that have required to use first aid. But now I feel a bit more competent at dealing with situations, just from refreshing my knowledge on it. So that was really important. So I'm glad that's in there on the 2-day refresher course. And then yesterday, the second day, was all about practical physical intervention. Now, there are holds and things that we are meant to do in the industry, which we are taught, which are great holds. No, they don't always work in a in a full-on situation. You've got to be really quick with your actions. So I'm not 100% sold on some of the measures, although they are measures which are going to keep you safe and keep them safe. So I'm a little bit on the fence with, I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit on the fence in terms of, what the SIA have issued as the, official techniques. Although I think, one or two of them, they work very well. But I'll give an example. I'll give an example so people know what I'm talking about. So the one example is 4 security staff escorting a customer up or downstairs of a venue. So if you're ejecting someone for fighting, for example, we were shown how to safely get someone up or downstairs. Now, was it a safe method of doing things? Absolutely, brilliant. All 4 of you are safe, and the customer is safe, and that's important. Even though the customer is the one at fault for being violent, for being aggressive, for the way that he's acting, it's still a duty of care. We still need to look after him, no matter how you feel about that customer or his actions or towards you. We've still got to do things properly, and that's really, really important, and that's really stressed on this course. So yeah, that was good. But in a situation where you're on the stairs getting someone out, the chances of you being able to get 4 security, if I'm working on somewhere where that's only got 3 staff on a quieter night and there's only 3 of us, or even 2 of us, that theory goes out the window, doesn't it? So my normal door has 2 of us. So, and we've got big stairs. It's a Wetherspoons. There's a lot of stairs to the toilets. So I'm being shown how to get someone up and down the stairs with 4 security, but there's only 2 of us. And you're not shown what's the safest method for 2 people to get someone down the stairs. Am I stood in the position of security guard 1, security guard 2, security guard 3, or security guard 4? How about if I'm on my own and there's an incident on the front door, or people are dealing with another incident, and I have safely got to be dealing with someone on my own? So I think there's more that could have been added to the course, personally. It probably should have been shown how to deal with someone on the stairs when there's just 1 of you, or 2 of you, or 3 of you. It's very rare, unless you're working in a big nightclub, that you're going to have 4 security guards available to help you. So that's just a little bit of feedback from my experience. There could have been more work on the physical intervention, but we literally did do half a day, all morning till about 12:30. We worked on physical intervention techniques, and that was really interesting. It was good. The afternoon was the exams, something that I absolutely hate. I'm glad that it was more multiple choice and it was just a little line that you got to cross out, A, B, C, or D. So that made things, that made it easier. But I'm just not a great fan of tests. Although, yes, of course, they're important to review your knowledge, make sure you've took things in, and hopefully, out the 3 tests, hopefully I've passed and I've not got to do a resit. But don't stress about the tests, because you can pay for the gold package, which I know it's more money, but it allows you to not have that stress. And if you do fail for whatever reason, and don't feel bad, I mean, I might fail. You never know. I'm not great at tests and that. I'm more of a hands-on doorman. So as experienced as I am, if I haven't passed for whatever reason, it might have been because I've rushed through it, or just tried to get out of the building or whatever. So if I haven't passed one of the 3, I can just easily resit it because I have got the gold package. So I'm not too stressed as long as I've got my door badge renewed by the end of January when mine's up, which I'm sure it will be, so there's nothing to stress about. So even though the bronze package is available to do it once, I'd stress that you get the gold package just for that sense of mind, so you can just stay relaxed, and if you do fail one of them, don't stress, just get yourself rebooked. Not an issue. So my overall experience of the 2 days, the negative is it is 2 long days. It is. And you can't really get around it. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to cover. I suppose it's better to cover more than cover less to refresh us. Some people work on a static position guarding the factory gates on a night, and they don't really have any interaction with people. But when they have to, or when there's a break-in, for example, They need to know how to deal with stuff. So it doesn't matter that me as a doorman on the door of a popular place, I'm dealing with a lot of customers and I'm dealing with a lot of, physical intervention techniques on a daily basis, well, on the weekend. It doesn't matter that I do that a lot more than someone else who worked in a different type of security role. They need to be just as clued up as me. So across the board, everyone's got to be learning these physical intervention techniques, counter-terrorism, and your first aid, because you never know when you're going to be called upon to use that. So, interesting few days. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Other than it being a very long process. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Hopefully, I've covered enough without wanting to give too much away on the course. I stress that there's nothing to stress about. The instructors that get licensed use were absolutely fantastic. There was two guys that came in. There was Gary, the one guy who did the majority of the course. It was just brilliant. Me and him had a lot in common, actually, but that's another story. But he was just really, really easy to get on with, as well as the way he speaks to the class. It helps you retain the information, and that's a skill that not all instructors have got. So, Gary, big shout out, mate. You were brilliant. I forgot the name of the other guy that came in to help us, but again, he was very professional, very to the point with the physical intervention stuff of what not to do and what to do. And if you're doing it wrong, he very rightly corrected us, and that was great. And then the examiner that come in was absolutely brilliant. The experience that this man had and the stories he gave us was so interesting. He's worked all over the world looking after celebrities, in the army, for example. So very experienced, and I suppose it's a lot easier to respect someone when they've come from the security background and they've been doing it for 40 odd years, even more. Yeah, so that was really interesting. So, hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Hope you've got enough information out of it. If your badge is due to run out, please, please, please get in touch with Get Licensed and get your 2-day DS upskilling course booked. Get the gold package for that sense of mind, just to cover yourself, just so you haven't got to stress. And then as soon as you've passed, as soon as you've got your results back, then you can go on and refresh your badge, and your badge again lasts for another 3 years. Now, will we have to do another upskilling course after these 3 years? Maybe not. Maybe something else will come in play. Personally, I hope something else does come in play and we get to learn more, and it's more skills and more feathers in our cap, so to say. So, hope you've enjoyed the vlog. I'm Mark. Over and out. So guys, today's the day. It's results day. Yesterday, I received my first aid certificate, which passed, no issues, really happy about that. That made me nervous then awaiting my results for my door supervisor top-up. Thankfully, I've got that today, and yes, I have passed all the modules. Really, really super stoked about it. Not sure why I was so nervous about it. Maybe it's just because I haven't done any kind of classroom work for a very, very long time. Maybe it was because I care about my job. I value my job in the security industry. And I just wanted to make sure I can pass to continue working in the industry. And there's a few things I want to start looking into and furthering my career. As such, I've been doing the doors for 9 years. I've worked many doors all over the place, all over the world actually. That's another story. But yeah, I think after 9 years now, I think I can step things up a little bit, and the only way I can do that is by passing this 2-day course, top up, to then renew my door badge for my next 3 years of service. So I'm really chuffed about that. I'm gonna have a good chat with Get Licensed and see what they can kind of do as well to help me on this journey. At the end of the day, guys, they are there to provide, a service to us in the security industry, to help us not only pass, our qualification of getting your door badge from the start. Any doormen that are watching this video that needs to do your top-up training, Get Licensed, honestly, make it so easy to follow, easy to book, easy to communicate with. The way the course was run was great. Gary, who did the instructing of the course, was just a really, really top guy. adjudicator that came in to do the exam, really top guy, really knowledgeable in the industry, and all in all, it was just a really pleasant experience. Like I've just said, it was very nerve-wracking for me going back into a classroom, not really knowing what to expect. Going back to like your childhood, being at school, I suppose. But it didn't feel like that. It felt a bit more relaxed, even though we were doing stuff on, counter-terrorism, which is very seriously. And anyone that doesn't take that seriously within the security industry probably shouldn't be in the industry. So yeah, super happy. Please get over to get licensed, or even better, download the app, create your profile, put yourself a little video on there of yourself, either of your experience or the fact that you're new to the industry. It doesn't matter. Get all your information on there. The jobs are all there. They're there on that. If you're looking for door work and you're struggling for work, or you want just an extra form of income, and you've got your door badge, the work's on there, ready for you to click, ready for you to do. Courses are all available. E-learning's all done on the app for the Door Supervisors top up. So yeah, I don't think there's much more to say, is there? Thank you for joining me on this video vlog journey. I hope you've learned something from it. I hope that I've been able to calm your anxieties about doing the 2-day course. Yes, it is going back to school, isn't it? But doing it through Get Licensed, honestly, it'll be the best thing that you do, because they just make it so easy. Right. Peace out.